Hello and welcome to the Snickerdoodle Knits channel. I am Jessica and I am the knitter and designer behind Snickerdoodle Knits. I'm coming to you from North Carolina in the United States. In this video I'm going to talk about my Remembering Summer Shawl pattern design. I will talk about the inspiration behind it as well as some of the details that you might want to know before knitting the pattern. So first, the inspiration. I was born and raised in Montana, and then I moved to Wyoming for 5 years. So winter's kind of been a big deal in my life, and I've never been super big fan of the long winter days and the cold and the dark and everything else. I love summer. So the inspiration behind this shawl was that summer was quickly fading away into winter, because that's the way it happens when you're living in a cold climate. There is no fall or spring. Anyway, summer was fading, and I thought it would be fun to design a pattern that remembered all of the bright, sunny, and wonderful memories of summer and kept you warm and cozy in the winter. So this shawl is not a summer shawl. This is a winter shawl to remind you of the good, bright, wonderful days of summer. So the whole story of the shawl tells the story from the time that a seed, basically you have a seed and you plant it and it grows and it blooms and it blossoms. So there's a whole story with these stitches. So I guess we can go ahead and get started. This is an asymmetrical triangle shawl. So it starts down here as just a little tip, and then it is worked to this big, huge, large triangle. And this is a very large shawl. This is a one-size-fits-all pattern sizing. If you want it smaller, you can use finer yarn and a smaller needle. But the idea is that it's supposed to be nice, warm, cozy, blanket style shawl. You can wrap around your shoulders, you can wrap around your neck, and it's a cute, fun styling piece. So, to get started, there are all of these girder sections between each section. That's the gray in my design. The garter I've named open fields. It's just plain open fields that haven't been planted yet. There's nothing growing in them. And then this first section I call the seeds. So this is just like a big pile of seeds that you have that you haven't done anything with yet. And then we have these rows, and this I call the garden rows. So it's like you've planted your seeds and they're all neatly in rows. And then I have drop stitches, which of course is the rain that's falling onto your seeds to allow them to grow. And then I have this purple section, magenta section, is the sunshine. So it's bobble stitches that are popping out to bring sun onto your seeds. Then this next section is another section of rows. So this is sprouting buds. This is where it's like you can see your buds just starting to stick out of the ground. You have your garden rows and you can see the buds just sticking out in the middle of your row. And then finally, this is my favorite section. We have the flowers that are in bloom. So this is the blossom section. So yeah, that's the whole story of the shawl, the inspiration behind it. The yarn that I use, this is fingering weight yarn, 100% acrylic. This is, I don't know that I can say it right, but it's Schockenmeyer or something like that. Bravo Baby Smiles. It's like a really cheap yarn that I got from Knit Picks, maybe? No, it's really cheap yarn that I got from LoveCrafts. Anyway, so it was great for this design because I wanted lots of colors. They have lots of color options. It's easy to care for because it's acrylic, and it was very affordable. So I have a blog post. I have one blog post that basically tells the whole story, maybe in a little more detail, about the shawl, the design inspiration. I'll link that blog post down below. I also have a blog post that gives color recommendations, so I had a lot of fun. With this shawl, obviously I used 4 colors, and I repeated each of these primary colors twice. So we have 2 oranges, 2 teals, 2 magentas. So on my blog I have some 1 color recommendations, I have some 2 color recommendations. So for the 2 colors, you do all the gray as 1 color, and you do all the bright colors as a 2nd color. I have 3 color recommendations. So you would have the gray as 1 color, and then you would alternate 2 colors for all of the bright stuff. I have 4 colors, like I have here, and then I have 7 color ideas. So that would be each section, each of the bright sections is a different color, and the gray is 1 color. So I have a whole bunch of yarn color recommendations on a blog post, and that's not exclusive to this yarn. I have lots of variety of yarns and content, and in color and in price points. So I will link that blog post down below as well. You can find this pattern on Ravelry, you can find it on LoveCrafts, you can find it on Pattern Vine, and I will link all of those things down below as well. So as far as techniques, there's a lot of different techniques in this pattern. They're not difficult, and I have linked tutorials in the pattern to each of the techniques. So if you don't know how to do these stitches yet, don't panic. But I wouldn't recommend this as your first knitting pattern design. I would recommend that you have some familiarity with knit stitches and purl stitches before you try to tackle this shawl. That said, these techniques really aren't that difficult. So if you have some experience, you're an adventurous beginner, or any level above that, of course, I highly recommend this pattern. I think it would be really fun to see all of the color combinations that you put together. It doesn't have to be a bright, colorful palette, of course. Muted color will look beautiful. You can see more like variety of what people have already made if you go to the Ravelry pattern page. There's a link up at the top that has other projects. If you click that, you can see what other people have already made. So, I love this shawl. It's big, cozy, warm, lots of fun textures. I easily can get bored while I'm knitting and working on designs. So I love that the different textures have something new throughout the entire pattern. Love that that keeps that interesting. So, I hope that answers all of your questions related to the Remembering Summer Shawl. I'll link all of the things down below. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave those in the comments section and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you like this video, I love it if you'd give it a thumbs up and if you'd hit the subscribe button. And feel free to go check out some of my other videos. I also designed a Remembering Summer scarf, which has all of the same textures, but it's as an infinity scarf. So maybe you love the concept of this, but you don't want such a big project. That's another great alternative. On Ravelry, you can purchase both Remembering Summer patterns together, and that's automatically 15% off. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative and interesting, and I hope to see you around very soon. Happy knitting!